meeting to order. If you'll all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and remain standing for the invocation.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening. My name is Bruce Hunt. I'm the pastor at Grace Church here in Allen Park. And so the Bible tells us that we are to seek the welfare of the city. So will you please pray with me? God, we thank you and praise you for being a good and gracious God, for being King of Kings and Lord of Lords. God, you are sovereign over what's happening in this whole globe. We continue to pray for the millions of displaced refugees in Ukraine and Eastern Europe. Lord, as they resettle new homes, God, we just pray that you are with them. We pray for families to be reunited. And God, we do pray for the welfare and the prosperity of Allen Park. We pray for our public servants. God, we pray for our police department and our fire department and the first responders. Lord, we pray a blessing on their lives as well as their families. Lord, keep them safe as they serve the city. We pray a blessing over our city council. And Lord, we pray right now a blessing over Officer David Pappas as he is sworn in. We just pray your blessing in his life and his future marriage. We just thank you and praise you for him. And we just ask that you just watch over City Council during these proceedings. It's in Jesus' name. Amen.
Thank you, Pastor.
Welcome.
If you'll take the roll call.
All right, Councilman Marco.
Present.
Councilman Blevins.
Here.
Councilman Schlack.
Present.
Councilman Valerius.
Here.
Councilman Lloyd has to be excused. Pro Tem Lally is also has to be excused. Mayor McLeod.
Here.
We have a quorum, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. May I have a motion to approve tonight's agenda?
Motion, Mayor.
Motion by Mr. Schlack.
Supported.
Supported by Mr. Marcos. Any corrections or changes? If none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. The motion is carried. May I have a motion to approve the minutes for the meeting of March 8th?
Motion.
Motion by Mr. Valerius.
Support.
Supported by Mr. Blevins. Any corrections or changes? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. That motion is carried. And now we have the swearing in of our new hire police officer, David Pappas.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Always a good day when we're swearing in an officer. Want to introduce you to Officer David Pappas, as well as Officer Belknap that's here. You swore him in a little bit ago. Dave Belknap got out of FTO program 2 weeks ago, and Officer Rogers got out this weekend. So all three of them were at the gun range today, very early. All three of them qualified very well. So Dave has served our country first. He did 14 years in the Michigan Army National Guard, served a tour in Afghanistan. And because of that, according to Mayor Pro Tem Lally, who's not here, he doesn't have a DD-214, but he does have an NGB-22, I believe. So we actually honor that service with a ribbon for them being in the military, as well as he has almost 8 years as a law enforcement officer. We swiped him from Melvindale. So I apologize for that to Melvindale. He's a detective over there. He's a corporal. He's a field training officer, a taser instructor, and probably a few other things I can't seem to remember. But he's done a great job. We're lucky to have him. And he's chosen to have his fiancee, Sarah, come up and pin his badge on him. So if Sarah would come on up. Both of Dave's parents are here, as well as Sarah's parents. So, Mr. Clerk. Stand over there. All right. So, well, you can go ahead and pin it on him first. So it goes right there. If you draw blood, you draw blood. Just go ahead.
Hopefully.
That's good. You just want to stand next to him, and Mr. Clerk.
I ask you to raise your right hand, and then you don't have to repeat after me. Just at the end, say, I swear, I do, or I affirm, whichever one you feel comfortable with. All right. Do you solemnly swear that you will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Michigan, and that you will endeavor to secure and maintain an honest and efficient administration of the affairs of the city of Allen Park, free from partisan distinction or control, and that you will perform the duties of full-time police officer to the best of your ability, so help you God?
I swear.
All right, congratulations.
You want to have a seat for just a second? I know the mayor wants.
Yeah, I know, we usually, we want to catch you now before you leave and go out and take more pictures, and I know that quite frequently, council members want to make a few comments, and they don't comment until the end of the evening, and you're gone, so I will open it up if we want to start to my immediate right. Mr. Marcos, if you would like to make some comments to our new officer?
Welcome, really appreciate it. Thank you for your service to the military. Welcome to Allen Park. It's a great city, and we look forward to having you. And Officer Belknap, appreciate you as well. And Chief, good work getting these great guys in here. Thank you very much.
Thank you for joining Allen Park and moving from Melvindale. But just keep up the good work and just stay optimistic, and thank you.
Thank you.
Definitely thank you for coming to Allen Park and choosing to serve our community. And prior to that, the National Guard, I myself served in the National Guard. A little longer than going on 20 years ago now. So thank you for that, and thank you again for everything that you will be doing for our community. You choose to make it a career here.
Thank you.
He's also an Allen Park resident.
Even better.
Again, thank you. Talked with you earlier. Really appreciate you coming to Allen Park, and we're in need of good people, and I'm glad Chief stole you from our neighbors. Thanks for your service in the past, and our prayers and thoughts and hopes are with you and your fiance in the future here in Allen Park. Appreciate it. Thank you.
And as always, I get to say last, we very much appreciate that you have chosen to join our force. We wish you the very best here, and we look forward to you being with us a long, long time. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, now we'll move on to the Parks and Recreation public hearing for the DNR grant. This is required by state law. Several meetings ago, I believe we approved the resolution to go forward with this grant. We did the publications that were required, and now we open up for a public hearing. I think with that in mind, I will open the meeting for anyone from the public who wishes to come up regarding the grant. And having no one come up, I will close the public hearing on the grant. I will ask for a motion to approve the application for the Michigan Land and Water Conservation Fund grant for the removal and installation of a new inclusive playground and shelter at Cunningham Park.
Motion.
Motion by Mr. Marcos.
Second.
Second by Mr. Schlack. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, thank you. That motion has carried, and now we have the city administrator's report.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. It's very good to be back before you. I took a couple-week hiatus. I know my replacement last week was a bigger improvement than I am today. I apologize, but I do have to say thank you to the entire department head staff for making sure everything was still on course as I was out of the office for a couple weeks. But I'm very happy to be back with you. I was hoping that Mr. Cady was going to be here tonight. We have a little basketball game coming up on Thursday night between Michigan and Villanova. And the last time those two teams played, we placed a couple bets on it. Well, one big bet, and that was loser had to cut their hair. shave their head. I think we're going to go with that again. It doesn't result in a lot of hair for either one of us, but we're all in good fun. And we did get a step up on them last night with a women's basketball taking out Villanova. So I'm hoping that's the precursor to positive vibes for Thursday night. So what was that? That's just Thursday night. It's just up at MSU. It's just Thursday night. Sorry. Look at how the couches that were saved over the weekend. So, man, all right, I'm back. Sorry, we're gonna get letters written on the behalf of the sports broadcast here. So, all right, for my report, for the lead water service replacement program, the contractor has replaced about 26 of the approximate 38 services that they have scheduled to go. They should be finished with the balance of those by the end of this week, and then restoration will start probably a couple weeks from out. They got to wait for the weather to get back, some concrete replacement and stuff like that. We had a bit of a situation a couple weeks ago with the Great Lakes Water Authority. In order for the Great Lakes Water Authority to replace a meter that they have in one of our pit, they have a meter in their pit, and we would like to install a pressure relief valve in that same pit with the meter, which they've been able to help coordinate. They had to do a massive process to get the water shut off because of how they have to shut off different gates and valves and reverse flow of water. And when they did that, the test, and it's all done to make sure everything can work, the work can be done safely. The water pit has to be shut off. It's a 54-inch water main, is my understanding. The pressure on that, if something happened, would be instantaneous death for whoever's in that pit. So it's got to be completely shut off. They had the first test. They did have a few issues with the different water plants kind of taking over with what they saw as a problem and boosting the pressure up, which caused a massive pressure spike here in the city and resulted in about 14 water main breaks. I think we've been pretty fortunate, and I think to this point, we probably only had about 40 all year, if I'm looking back to time. 46? 26. So we did not have a whole lot before this. We've been knock on wood. So this was a major issue. They did find, what the problem was. They were able to, make sure that didn't happen. So when they went to shut it off, there would be no problems then, and that has been the case now. So Friday, that pit was taken off service, and it is now off service. They're doing the repair to put the new meter put the new meter in, as well as to put our pressure relief valve in, and they'll have that done by the end of the week and back online early next week. The good point of that whole process, though, is the PRV that we have had installed by GLWA on another meter pit worked as it was designed to. That area did not receive the spike in pressure, or receive the pressure spike. The relief valve did what it's supposed to, and we didn't have any water main breaks in that area that were the result of this issue. So that we do know that PRVs will work once they get installed, and we do appreciate GLWA helping us out. By them putting the PRV within their existing meter pit, we probably save $70,000 to $100,000, if not more, per location. So definitely a nice benefit out of that. We've had a good relationship with GLWA since they've been in existence as well. So, with the construction of the new football field for the Allen Park High School, the 3 football teams will be utilizing Millward Rotary Park for their practice sessions. This will be the area north of the parking lot, and the practice months will be for the months of August and September. I'm not too sure if they'll go longer than that. I think the plan is that they hope to have their facility back in operation by the end of September and be able to play at least 1 or 2 home games there. But I have not been able to confirm that with Superintendent Dargett just yet. So they'll be over there. Once they're done with the practice sessions, they will have the field, the area restored back to existing condition. We have 3 student athlete basketball players that were nominated for awards by the Parks and Recreation Department with their affiliation with the Junior Detroit Pistons program. For the Sadiq Bey Sharpshooter Award, the winner was Keller Johnson, and he was awarded that from the Pistons as well. The Heidu De Lo Hustle award nominee was Oscar Moran, and the Priority Health Best Teammate Award nominee was Joey Sackerson. And they were all honored last Friday at the Pistons training facility at the Wayne State Fieldhouse. And we want to congratulate those players for their efforts and their awards. Also, yard waste compost starts April 4th. I mean, spring is in the air, Councilman. And then the following employees have or will have reached the milestone in service with the City of Allen Park. That's Tom Murray, DPS Director, will have 20 years on April 1st. Michael Stetz, the second with the Fire Department, has 15 years on April 2nd. And Eric Taylor, also from the Fire Department, has 15 years, and he'll reach that on April 2nd as well. Within the packet I supplied provided to the Mayor and Council, I included a letter that we sent on the city's behalf to Governor Whitmer regarding the non-payment issue with of water and sewer charges that Highland Park has been taking advantage of, in my opinion, for the last nearly 10 years. To the tune of Allen Park's cost of that has been around, I believe it was $29,000 for this year. That $26,000 for fiscal year 23, and somewhere around $198,000 since this problem started. I know the Conference of Western Wayne sent over a resolution in disapproval of this process, and in hopes that the governor's office in the state of Michigan will get involved and get this issue resolved without the additional cost to the residents of the metropolitan Detroit area that are GLWA customers. Additionally, I submitted the project list. Representative Tullio Liberati was in here at the end of February with him and the mayor. He'd asked for a list of projects that we could submit that they may be able to find some funding for. So we did submit that list. Just quickly from there is a resurface of Pinecrest Drive, funding for the Allen Park Theater site, funding for the Cunningham Park ADA improvements, which is, I believe, also the park that we just had the public hearing for. Additional funding for lead service replacements, ADA bleacher replacement. I know Pat has an application in that as well. The old Goddard water main replacement, as well as ADA park improvements. Basically, what we did is we took the list of projects that we've had grant applications for in the last couple of months, put those all together and just submitted those. If we get funding from the state or the grant, one way or the other, we'll figure we'll go the benefit on that. And then finally, just attached the letter that we'll be sending out to the residents of Park Avenue, Rosedale, and for Philomene, that'll be part of the road street improvement projects for this year, and also the residents over on Winona that'll be part of the water main replacement project. We're working on the water main replacement project with DTE as they're planning to do some main service replacement in that same area. So we're trying to coordinate to make sure we don't impact the residents longer than we need to. And maybe if they're in just before us, and then we can get it all restored at one time, as opposed to them being in and then leaving, and us coming in and leaving and just disrupting them multiple times. So we'll get that coordinated with DTE. I believe that is everything I have.
May I have a motion to accept and file the administrator's report?
Motion.
Motion by Mr. Valerius.
Supported.
Supported by Mr. Marcos. Any questions? Comments?
Thanks, Mark.
Thank you. Now we have.
Through the chair.
Yes.
I'll say vote.
Oh, yeah. Moving right along. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Motion is carried. Thank you, Charles. A little lapse there. I was thinking about the letters that our residents were going to get on the paving and the water sewer, and how glad I was to see that. Okay, now we open up for public comments. You're limited to 4 minutes. All we ask is that when you come up, please provide your name and the street on which you live. We do not want to have the exact address. And the only other comment I would make is that you be civil in your comments.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. Sorry for my appearance. I just got off of work. I actually do clean up very nice.
We need your name and.
I'm going on to that. My name's Jose Villarreal, and I live on 17300 Keppen Avenue in Allen Park, Michigan. And I'm here on behalf of my father-in-law, which is ill. He couldn't make it tonight. He lives on 17466 Keppen Avenue. And the reason why I'm here is because the city street that is in front of his driveway, where there's a sewer cap right there at the corner of SOUTHFIELD Service Drive and his driveway. The city street it's like a massive sink over there. The cement has failed, so when you pull into his driveway, you pretty much almost bottom out coming into his driveway, and when you back out, you do bottom out. So it's pretty bad. There's like, I want to say 2 or 3 sections of cement that's caved in. I apologize, I didn't bring the documentation that I need or the picture. I can have that by tomorrow. I just wanted to pretty much come here tonight so that the city could note it. Mr. Guglielmetti is the founder of Perino Frozen Foods in Lincoln Park, and he also started that business in Allen Park, and he also still owns the commercial building, which he pays taxes on that building. He's been a member of resident of Allen Park for over 50 years. So he's a good man, they're a good family, we're just looking for a little bit of help.
Could I, there should be a sheet of paper.
Yep, right here, yep.
Could I ask you to complete that and just leave it here with us and someone can get back to you on that?
Leave it with,
Just put it here at the end. And
okay, all right.
Can
That's
you,
all right.
can you repeat the address again?
17466 Keppen Avenue. That's the corner house of Southfield Service Drive and the end of Keppen Street coming from Watson. Yep. Thank you.
Thank you. Does anyone else wish to come up?
Good evening, Madam Mayor, Council members. My name is Adam Oley. I'm a state senator. I represent the 2nd Synod in Detroit, and I was just grateful for the opportunity to come by and say hello and get to know your community a little bit better. Thanks.
Thank you.
If there's no one else coming up for public comments, I will close that section. Before we get to the consent agenda, though, I do want to, we were talking in our work session about grants and grant writers, et cetera, and kind of affiliated with the Parks and Recreation grant we just talked about. I want to recognize an individual who is in the audience, Mr. Ray Tessier, who was a board member on the Allen Park Citizen Civic Fund for quite a period of time, very instrumental in writing many of the grants that have been done to help the city, and even though he's no longer sitting on the board, he continues to work very diligently and very hard on getting grants. So thank you very much. Now moving on to the consent agenda. Tonight's agenda is claims and accounts and payroll report. May I have a motion?
Motion.
Motion by Mr. Blevins. Second by Mr. Valerius. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Resolutions. Resolution 1 is to approve the DDA's request for the road and parking lot closures for the 2022 Music in the Streets Classic Car Show, Touch a Truck, and the Made in Michigan Festival, with the 4 recommendations from the city administrator and pending final approval from the police chief. May I have a motion?
Motion.
Motion by Mr. Marcos.
Second.
Second by Mr. Schlack. Comments or questions?
The only comment I'll make is that in our study session, we asked the question if it's going to be any inconvenience when the tear down of the theater, and we came to the conclusion that it will not at this time. And that's the only comment I have about that.
Any other? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion has carried. Resolution 2, to approve the long-term maintenance of stormwater management system agreement with Boran Enterprises LLC for 5900 Allen Road. May I have a motion?
Motion.
Motion by Mr. Blevins.
Second.
Second by Mr. Valerius. Any comments or questions? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you, that motion has carried. Resolution to authorize the city administration to move forward with the possibility of issuing a Michigan Transportation Fund bond. Motion, please.
Motion.
Motion by Mr. Valerius,
Second.
second by Mr. Blevins. Now we will get some information on that.
Yeah, through the chair, if I may. We have a couple roads. The first main road that we're having some serious issues with is Rosedale Boulevard from Southfield Road to Champaign. This section of roadway, not that old unfortunately, but it suffers from ASR, which is alkali silica reactivity, which is a problem that when water is introduced to the joints of between the concrete, if it interacts with the alkali and the silica, creates a gel that then freezes and that busts out the joints. That's why you see all the deterioration at the joints, all the saw cut joints, right? This is the same thing that Northline suffers by Sam's Club or Eureka Road down by the airport. All of it is about that same age of late 1990s to early 2000. Tom has been over there with the crews. He sent the crews over there to patch and patch and patch, and there's just nothing more to do on that road. You could try to cut it out, and you're just going to create another saw joint cut that is eventually going to bust again. In order to do Rosedale, and we've also looked at including Reek as well. Reek from Goddard to Wick Road is a long stretch of roadway there. So between those two, if we were to follow the process that we do now, you're probably looking at somewhere 7 to 9 years to make those repairs to those roads. I'm not too sure that Rosedale can last another 2 or 3 years. The way it is, this year, we've gotten a number of concerns. You've seen them on the Facebook. I'm not a member of the Allen Parker, but I do hear from everybody that is members to tell us what's going on there. Rosedale has been the main issue. If you drive down there, the roadway is now in the residents' easements. It's a pain. We understand that completely. In order to be able to get this project taken care of in a timely fashion, and that's not going to take 7 to 9 years, we're proposing that we look further into bonding. I'm not a big advocate of bonding. I've been very vocal on that, but I'm not certain there's another way to do this and still get the results we're looking for. In the situation here, we've asked some preliminary work from our bonding agents and up at Baird, and we're looking at a 15-year bond, borrowing $9 million, 15 years. Our payback would be $740,000 over those 15 per year for 15 years. So you're borrowing $9 million. Your interest on that's probably roughly about $2 million. As interest rates are starting to go up, now I think we need to react quicker than waiting on this. So what we're asking for is permission to go ahead and start that process with the attorneys and the Baird to get all the documents together and then come back before you with that final proposal. We would be looking at doing Rosedale, like I said, from Southfield to Champaign. That's about a 15-block section, if I've counted correctly. And then Reek Road we'd be looking at as well. And I'm not certain Reek is would be the final choice there. It could be Manor, it could be Inglewood. We have a number of major roads that are just in bad shape that we need to get a grasp on now. And we've been doing a pay-as-you-go for the last, 6 years, 6 construction seasons, and we've done the pay-as-you-go. I'm very happy with that we've done that because we have not incurred any debt, but at this point in time, I'm just not, again, I don't know of any other way to do such a massive amount of concrete. When you're looking at Reek Road from Goddard to the bridge is 1,900 feet. It doesn't look like much when you're standing there looking, when you measure out 1,900 feet. When we do a section of Park Avenue from Wick to Moore, you're roughly somewhere around 900 to 1,000 feet. So you can understand how this program, when we look at those sections, and we do one of those or two of those per year, that's how you would not be able to get through this in a short period of time. The next section, I didn't measure from the bridge, which is midway to back to Moore, is probably in the range of 11 to 1,200 feet. And then the last section of Reek between Moore and Wick is in the 900-foot length. So you're right there, you're talking in the range of like 4.5 normal seasons. And there's really no break point, so that's why we've looked at Reek as well. So we're just looking for permission to go ahead and move forward on this. You'll have final say if you decide not to allow for bonding at when this comes before you. But I'd like to be able to go forth and get this information and get everything started at that point for us.
Any questions?
And let me add one more thing. As I worked with Amanda and Tom, one of the big focuses, what would happen is, the concern always with bonding is you're going to take up all the funding you have and not have any money to do any other projects. So that's been a big issue as we've had our internal discussions. At $740,000, for 2022-23 proposed budget, we have somewhere in the rate, we have $3.2 million set aside for construction. That'll be for major, that is the amount of money that's going to be necessary to do Rosedale from Wick to Moore, Park Avenue from Champaign to Angelique, and Philomene from Colwell to Park Avenue. That's in the range of about $1.6 million to $1.7 million. We then still have $1.5 million to do sectioning, and that's going to cover taking care of Arno, paving Arno from along the railroad tracks, and then doing some major sectioning throughout the city. The money doesn't go very far, unfortunately, as costs have been going up. But what we'll be able to do is still take that a bond payment out, and we'll still have $2.5 million to work with. So that'll still give us enough money to continue to do our sectioning program that Tom has been doing a wonderful job on, and taking care of big sections throughout the area, throughout the community, in longer stretches and in small sections as well. But also still allow us to do at least one more street like we've been doing, so we might be able to get in, like we're doing Rosedale or Park or Philomene, we would still be able to get one more street in, and so the process isn't going to stop. I think that was the biggest issue when we came in on board years ago, is that a lot of the construction had just stopped. And when you don't do any additional work for a long period of time, it doesn't get any better, it only gets worse. So we want to make sure we're continuing to keep that program going, but this will still help us to solve out some major thoroughfares.
Questions or comments?
I don't see any reason not to at least just, dig into the bond, look at it, and see where we're at.
They're estimating the percentage right now for a 15-year bond to be 2.75%. As Mr. Katie would be here, if it was, he's usually around 2.25. He says that's free money. I don't know if I'd call it free money, but that's what he seems to consider that. But he's not happy at 2.75. He thinks it could be a little bit better, and it could be based on just timing. Yeah.
Just comment. Again, I'm always not a fan of getting with bonds because we've been paying more. We still have other bonds we're still paying and all that stuff over the years and stuff. But driving on Rosedale, it's a need, and I know the residents there would appreciate that. I truly hope if it goes and whoever is doing the road construction, it could be the same like on Champaign, because I don't remember the last time that's been worked on and all that stuff, and it still looks, it's decent and all that stuff. So it's the material. I hope that if this does go through and all that stuff, that it's there for a long time and not like a Band-Aid or what some people like to call it and stuff, because it really does, it is a need. And again, with the residents wanting the roads getting fixed and all that stuff, it's like, this is how, with prices going up and stuff, this is the only way we can get stuff done and all that stuff, but yeah, it's just my comments.
To touch on it a little bit if I can, we become very concerned about the cost as well because they've just continued to go up. And you still have some major projects going on in the metropolitan Detroit area. The 275 project, you have now you have the widening of 690, or the widening of 96. You have the Gordie Howe Bridge, and you still have some major construction projects building wise. So all that kind of pinches your opportunity to get the concrete price. So that's become a bigger concern as well.
And I think, just to interject here, what we're viewing on Rosedale was something that was inherent for that particular time period. And
Correct.
that problem, that issue has been addressed and resolved. So we hopefully will never see that again.
Correct. Yeah, and we're not the only ones that have suffered that. Unfortunately, that road is not that old, and I think the people remember that project being done. I think there was a sewer project that was part of that, if I'm not mistaken. So they saw that road being replaced, and now it's failing. It was just the material of the time. It was the mixed design and the material that was being used at that time, and they have corrected that issue as technology and research and scientific knowledge now has changed that. But again, if you drive down North Line Road or you drive down Eureka Road, that was all from the same time frame.
No hiding that this is a great example of why they say Michigan has 5 seasons.
Yes, absolutely.
Any other comments or questions? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you, that motion is carried. And now our last one. Resolution to approve the APB Streetery LLC's request for a new Class C liquor license at 5955 Allen Road. May I have a motion?
Motion, Mayor.
Motion by Mr. Schlack.
Supported.
Supported by Mr. Marcos. Any comments or questions?
Only comment I'll make is, thank you for investing in our community, and I look forward to being at the grand opening.
Thank you. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. That motion is carried. Now we come to council comments. This evening, we will start with Mr. Marcos.
Thank you, Mayor. Make it short. Welcome, Officer Pappas, and appreciate you guys, the police department, working hard to get these fine officers to our city. They're really welcome here, and I know, Chief, it's a tough job. I get guys in here, and it's appreciate it very much. I also wanted to thank a guy who never gets thanks around here. I don't know. Says very little but does a lot. Mike Mizzy, our city clerk. Thank him for working nonstop. Don't go in his office. You'll get lost. But he knows where everything is. It's okay. He's going to be here a long time, I hope. And I wanted to thank Mr. Kibby for all his hard work, especially with the water thing, with the Highland Park situation, and getting on together with the other cities and addressing it to the governor, and hopefully we'll get somewhere with this so we don't have to pay all this money out. And welcome. Can't wait for the APB eatery also. Thank you.
Thank you, Dennis. Matthew.
All right, wanted to thank everyone in attendance tonight. Also, again, congratulations to Officer Pappas, and thank you for joining the ranks of our Allen Park Police Department. Wanted to, with everything going on, I tend to focus on the positive. Charles has brought that out of me. And I wanted to begin with a quote of hope. It just says, "When we love, we always strive to become better than we are. When we strive to become better than we are, everything around us becomes better too." And that kind of leads into my thanks to Tom Murray for his 20 years of service to the Allen Park. And also Michael Stetz and Eric Taylor for their 15 years with the Allen Park Fire Department. And everyone, all the department heads in service, and Pat for putting everything together with the hopes of obtaining that grant for the parks. Again, thank you for the owners of the Allen Park Eatery. Look forward, like I said, I drive by it every day and I see the progress you're making. And I know I asked during the work session, when are you going to open? It's like a Dunkin' Donuts commercial, or open. But I know it's been painstaking in regards to getting things done, and I know how hard it has been in regards to, especially with COVID and everything else. But it's nice to see you're investing, as my fellow councilman said, in our city. And we all look forward to that opening for sure. And I'll end with another quote. The things you do for yourself are gone when you are gone, but the things you do for others remain as your legacy. And again, that goes towards Mr. Murray, Mr. Stetson, Mr. Taylor for their dedication to the city of Allen Park and all the years that they've invested in our city. And with that, Mayor, I yield.
Thank you. Mr. Schlack.
I want to start off by saying congratulations again to Officer Pappas for joining our department. I want to thank Jose Varela for coming up here for his comments, and thank you again for State Senator Adam Holloway to joining us today to introduce us. I definitely want to thank Tom Murray for his 20 years of service. I had an extra glance at that because his start date was April 1st, as everyone may know. That's April Fool's Day, so it's always a big laugh to me. Not anyone else, but and also firefighter Michael Stetz and firefighter Eric Taylor. I'll be remiss to say this past week I attended the Capitol Conference in Lansing. It was a conference among other elected officials around the state and with state senators, state representatives. I attended work sessions where I was able to learn more about community development. Always can learn at least something. And also attended a session on the American Rescue Plan Act. I also supported Allen Park Booster Club by attending their annual wild game dinner. I ate a lot of interesting things, to say the least. And finally, I would be remiss not to say, even though he won't recognize this and probably never even watch this, it's my youngest son's very first birthday. So that is Francis Xavier Butler Schlack, and I'm proud of him and can't believe a year went by because, 17 more years and he's out of the house. No. And with that, definitely for this Rotary to open. What my fellow councilman did not say is we live on that part of town, so that's why we are probably more anxious and waiting for that more than anyone else, because we definitely see it wherever we go. And with that, I yield my comments.
Thank you. Mr. Blevins.
Yes, that business, I love seeing the wall, the paint and everything. A beautiful job, whoever did it. That's what we need more of in our downtown in our city. It's art. Another also for our small businesses to keep supporting. Last week, Liberati's just hit their 20th year here in Allen Park, so keep supporting local businesses. To those who celebrate, Happy Ramadan. April 2nd starts. I did get to see the two, the Cabrini musical Once Upon a Mattress and the high school Mamma Mia. So many talented students, fantastic job. It brought back memories when I was in plays and all that stuff, but it's just wonderful for everyone that was in it and was involved. So great job to the students. I'm so happy the closure on Roosevelt, DT is finally done. Going there, you really know how many times you actually go on a street with closure until you actually need to go around it and all that stuff. Also, if you haven't seen it yet, the Allen Park Today magazine came out and some great articles in it, especially with all about all the parks that we have in our city, and but great magazine of information as well. Great communication, as I always say, we need. I hope everyone keeps up the good work and stay optimistic. And with that, I yield. Thank you.
Thank you. And Michael, would you like to say a few words?
I'm going to scoot up for that.
I think that's a good idea.
All right, I'm just going to bring up this year's election dates being August 2nd for the primary for governor, congressional, and some other various state and county offices. And the general election this year will be November 8th, 2022. So you're gonna get a lot more information from me, but I'm gonna be pushing the Michigan website, which has jumped light years over the last 4, 5, 6 years. So I'll be sending you to michigan.gov/vote, and you could register, get an absentee, change your address, everything right through the state website. So I also wanted to say something about the roads. I usually don't say much about the roads because it's usually a millage and it's a political thing, but I have to say this. The roads he's speaking of is very sad because those were the first bids I got to open as a deputy clerk. And those roads are two of the worst in my neighborhood, actually. I live in between. And one thing that drew me to that area was I knew, oh, Philomene and Beverly are getting redone. You know, and that was around, what, 01, 02? They were redone? That's less than how long ago, and those roads deteriorated because of that. So I just ask people to be open-minded. They said they just did that. Go look at the conditions of those roads, because what he was talking about is real. It just completely ate away the concrete. I'm on Cortland, and I think my road's like 70 years old, and it's in better condition than those two that are in 20. So I just wanted to bring that up. Again, there's no vote on roads right now in either of these elections. I'm not pushing it. It's good to hear where it's sad to hear at the same time that we're going back to roads, but it was the concrete. Anyways, with that, I'd like to thank you all for coming out tonight. God bless you and good night.
Thank you, Mike. It was nice to actually hear you. Well, I'm not going to repeat everything that's been said. We are always happy when celebrating anniversaries here, and we hope that you can't believe you've been here that long because it's been an enjoyable experience. We are always very happy when we are swearing in a police officer or a firefighter. We hope that our city provides the environment that makes them want to stay here and be proud of where they work, because we are very proud of all of them. Since we're into some quotes, there was one I missed the last meeting that we had. It was for Women's History Month, but this particular one stuck in my mind. It really has nothing to do with strictly just women. It's just a good quote. And it came from Eleanor Roosevelt, and I think we've all heard it, and it's something to keep in mind as we may go through a number of things. No one can make you feel inferior without your consent. Keep that in mind. On a slightly different note, many of you probably aren't aware that one of our longtime residents and commissioners, Artis Bennett, passed away at the age of 96. Artis served this community in a number of capacities, including with the building department, an inspector. He was married to someone else we lost recently, who was Sylvia, who owned Sylvia's Sub Shop. Nothing is going to be published. I have made contact with the family. I think that Artis served on the ZBA longer than any other commissioner. When he was not reappointed to that board, I did place him on the Brownfield Authority, and he was a commissioner on that board. He was always willing to step up and do, if something came up, he would look at his calendar and let you know if he had any room available. In doing a little research, because I'm not going to tell you that I knew Artis all his life, I didn't. I do know that up into his later years, and maybe even up until his very last day, he had a Mustang that he liked to drive. And that is very near and dear to my heart, because anybody who likes a sports car like that, I'm all for. I also found an article that indicated that he was the oldest graduate from Baker College back in 2010, where he was instrumental in getting them to set up a program that gave a bachelor's degree in business leadership for code administration. And in that article is where I found that he had been education coordinator for the City of Dearborn Residential Services. He was a code officer in Dearborn and Allen Park, reviewing building plans and inspecting city job sites. He graduated from Dearborn High School. He went into the U.S. Navy Air Corps from 1943 to 1947. When he was discharged, he took managerial training under the GI Bill of Rights. Worked for many years as a mortgage banker. And just before the turn of the new millennium, as a uniform coding system was being established across the United States, that's when he realized that code officers were going to need more than licenses and certificates. So while we may pause in some sadness for those who knew him, I think we should look at Artis as a life well lived, and he lived it to the fullest. And I know that he will be remembered by many of those with whom he served throughout his lifetime. And with that, I will ask for an adjournment. Motion by Mr. Blevins, supported by Mr. Markles. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? We are adjourned at 6:50. Thank you all very much.